Palette reassured Ignis that they could successfully resurrect Olivia if they emerged victorious from the impending battle. Ignis confirmed her familiarity with the dungeon and prepared herself to confront Rush. She defiantly challenged Rush to approach her. Rush observed Ignis's significant maturation since their last encounter, but he confidently asserted that such miracles were rare and would not repeat themselves this time. He declared it was time to get down to business and activated his hidden class, the Dark Knight. The formidable Dark Knight materialized before Ignis, declaring his intent to slaughter her. A powerful explosion erupted, causing widespread destruction. He then unleashed his Shadow Slash with an intense burst of light. The attack struck Ignis, causing her to lose her footing and fall. The Dark Knight immediately leaped towards Ignis, swinging his sword and bisecting her shadow. Ignis realized she was paralyzed, unable to move, due to her shadow being severed. Ignis rapidly tried to escape. The Dark Knight activated his Shadow Web skill. Palette observed a spiderweb-like construct, wondering about its nature. Harkmorph recognized Rush's cunning maneuver and warned Palette unequivocally not to touch the spiderweb. Ignis saw the spiderweb surrounding her, and her vision began to blur. She realized that touching his shadow caused blindness, and having her shadow caught by him induced a stunning effect. She knew that he must have anticipated her previous strategy of making her shadow vanish for a moment, implying it might not work this time. Still, she had to exhaust every possible option to save Olivia. Palette's face was bleeding. She looked at Ignis, questioning her actions. Ignis comforted her, assuring her not to worry and promising it wouldn't happen again. Palette expressed concern that she might not be able to get up again. Ignis calmly told Palette that it was acceptable, as their destinies were linked. Palette felt a pang of sentimentality. Ignis knew she needed to visualize the connection between her ego and her body. She had witnessed the past through the items, and her family had been with her. Now, she possessed both a past and a future worth saving. Ignis opened her eyes. A screen notification confirmed the activation of the dragon's second ego, Grief. Meanwhile, the Dark Knight prepared to use his Shadow Slash skill again, beginning to relentlessly slash at Ignis. He attempted to seize her shadows all at once. Ignis stood her ground, observing the Dark Knight's every move. The Dark Knight was confident that once all the shadow threads converged into a single point, she would be brought down. Therefore, regardless of her strength, he would defeat her once more. The system notified Ignis that while utilizing the ego of Grief, she was immune to all darkness and curse-type skills. Ignis advanced towards the Dark Knight after effortlessly blocking his attacks. The Dark Knight was bewildered by this sight, wondering if Ignis had truly nullified all his abilities. He couldn't comprehend the menacing aura she now exuded. However, he still held one final ace up his sleeve. He unleashed the Dark Knight's ultimate skill, activating the Dark Moon Slash. The ground began to rumble violently. He was about to deliver the Dark Moon Slash to Ignis, but before he could act, Ignis struck him. Rush was shocked to witness Ignis wielding such immense power. Ignis declared that he claimed to be the essence of the world, yet he couldn't face the truth that the world itself was evolving. She knew that all he did was murder innocent monsters, and his followers idolized him for it. She believed that life had been too easy for him, asking if he didn't agree. Rush was consumed with rage upon hearing Ignis's thoughts. He demanded to know how she dared to harbor such rubbish opinions about him. He emphatically clarified that she knew absolutely nothing about him. He activated the Edge of Despair. Ignis grasped her sword and raised it high. Holding the sword firmly, she swung it towards Rush. Within mere seconds, Rush collapsed to the ground. He now understood that Ignis had been chosen by the system. He conceded his defeat to Ignis. The glass around them shattered. Harkmorph witnessed Ignis's true power, the side that Palette had described to her. She concluded that the proper side of Ignis was, as mentioned, quite thrilling. Now that Ignis had awakened, Harkmorph remarked that she seemed capable of defeating 0 guild rankers. After Ignis's victory over Rush, Palette asked Ignis if she was alright. Agnes turned to her, and with a smile, assured Palette that she was perfectly fine. Palette was overjoyed to see Agnes back and thanked God that Agnes had not lost her sanity. Agnes looked at them and asked what their next course of action would be, assuring them she wouldn't object. The remaining assailants wanted to battle her. Kangwoo gritted his teeth, marveling at Agnes's sudden surge in power. He observed that Agnes was now completely different from before. Instead of fighting, they vanished. And Agnes branded them all as cowards. Palette reiterated to Agnes that they could indeed bring Olivia back to life. All they required for the resurrection was one of her items to facilitate the exchange. Palette grew sad, realizing she possessed no such items from Olivia. Agnes smiled, informing Palette that they actually did have Olivia's item. Palette was surprised to hear that Agnes had one of Olivia's items. Long ago, they had all camped together after the rush battle concluded. They all remembered that day vividly, but they had forgotten one crucial detail, a purple hue. There was a hidden device within the item that Olivia had given her. Agnes possessed the ability to sense an ego monster's flame, and she had felt it when she concentrated her mind in that pure white space. She looked at Olivia's item. And Karanti observed that they possessed the slime's goo. He expressed his appreciation, noting that their possession of the item fulfilled his condition. Agnes handed the item to him. And Karanti informed Agnes that the next step involved linking their soul chains together. Furthermore, he explained that beings whose soul chains were linked would share the exact same fate. Agnes asked Karanti if he meant that if one died, the other would also automatically perish without exception. However, she made her decision, asserting that she cared about nothing else because she was confident in her ability to handle everything. Palette urged Agnes to wait, proposing that they make a different arrangement. Palette knew that Olivia had died trying to save her. She believed that if she had been more careful, that tragedy wouldn't have occurred. Additionally, she felt indebted to Olivia for bestowing upon her the name she now carried. Agnes told Palette to pause, feeling that this wasn't something she should rush into so impulsively. Palette insisted that she wasn't acting without thought. Agnes then understood that Palette had already made up her mind while Agnes was unconscious. Palette asked Karanti for one clarification, if the link was solely effective for the two souls involved. Karanti confirmed her understanding. And Palette then told Agnes to allow her to be the one to save Olivia. She looked at Agnes, reminding her that she had a brother to rescue. Agnes felt a pang of emotion. Palette sat down within one of the magic circles. She asked Karanti to commence the process, and he initiated it. A blinding, flashing light enveloped the entire area. The scene shifted to a bright, sunny day. Olivia was present in a vibrant green landscape. Emma inquired of Olivia about her adventure. Olivia replied that it had been truly enjoyable. Emma then asked Olivia if she found it painful. Olivia stated that she couldn't categorize it as painful. However, she admitted that, as always, the greatest pain stemmed from her own inadequacy and strength. Emma asked Olivia to recount her memory. Falling endlessly into a dark abyss was what her fear felt like when her ego had perished. They had set up camp in the forest again after encountering Kia. That was what she had dreamed about. In that dream, she witnessed her first friend die. No matter which direction she looked, that scene replayed itself. It felt as though she was being blamed, as if someone had a vice-like grip on her heart, squeezing it until she suffocated. She simply couldn't stop weeping. She felt utterly useless. It was then that she perceived a small yet incredibly warm spark of fire. That fire finally roused her from her nightmare. Agnes grasped Olivia's hand and asked her if she was awake. They didn't even need to speak, simply smiling and holding hands was enough. That was her most cherished memory, one she would never forget. Emma expressed her happiness that Olivia had enjoyed her adventure. She then informed Olivia that some people had arrived to greet her. Olivia, surprised, asked if someone had truly come for her. A door materialized before her, and Olivia surmised that her adventure had not yet concluded. She told Emma she would return to her soon. Emma wished Olivia a wonderful journey. and Olivia then reappeared before Ignis and Palette. Ignis smiled, overjoyed to see Olivia back. Olivia was equally delighted to find herself reunited with Palette and Ignis. Palette embraced Olivia tightly, abruptly bursting into tears. She lovingly called Olivia a dummy and tearfully asked her how she could have left her like that. She implored her never to do it again, and Olivia laughed softly. Palette squeezed her so tightly in the hug that Olivia playfully told Palette she was hurting her. Olivia then looked at Ignis, who stood observing them both. She told Ignis that she had returned. And Ignis confessed to Olivia how much she had missed her. Their world, once again, began to turn. Ignis had found the third ego of the dragon, which was Joy. Ignis and her team had successfully defeated Rush and brought Olivia back to life. However, that very fact was enough to ignite someone else's determination. Harkmorph stood up and instructed Ignis to look at the item she possessed from her brother. Ignis was bewildered, unsure of what was happening. Palette offered to explain everything to Ignis, detailing how Harkmorph had offered her assistance and that they needed to pass a test to acquire the item. Ignis sensed no hostility from Harkmorph but wondered if she simply enjoyed combat. Harkmorph looked at Ignis and clarified that she held no hidden agendas. She told Ignis that she simply enjoyed fighting individuals more formidable than herself. Ignis questioned Harkmorph how she could be certain she would receive the item if she won. Harkmorph gave her word, assuring Ignis of her promise. She informed Ignis that the item was crafted from fortified adamantine and reassured her that it wouldn't fall apart. Ignis confidently told her to bring it on. Ignis and Harkmorph sat opposite each other, grasping each other's arms. Harkmorph noted that Ignis had regained the use of her arm, asking if she was confident it could withstand the challenge. Ignis assured Harkmorph that she had no issues with it and urged Harkmorph not to go easy on her. Harkmorph stated that one crucial step needed to be taken before the test commenced, a handshake. She asked Ignis if she was aware that a handshake acted as a tunnel connecting two hearts. Ignis remembered hearing those exact words from Tafas before. The hand was the body part most commonly used by people meeting for the first time. A handshake could convey a multitude of meanings: gratitude, respect, and many other emotions, not all of them positive. It could signify agreement or refusal. This physical contact could encompass so many feelings. That was why holding hands was said to create a tunnel between two hearts. Harkmorph told Ignis that she could perceive her emotions through their clasped hands. She asked Ignis what her intentions were. And Ignis firmly held Harkmorph's hand. She knew this might be the first time she had openly discussed this with another person. Ignis articulated the thoughts she had been harboring about her ideas for constructing a new world, a place for Tafas to inhabit. It was quite an unexpected response. Even Palette and Olivia had never heard her express such sentiments. Harkmorph laughed, asking Ignis if she was seriously considering pursuing such an endeavor. She questioned if Ignis was genuinely stating that. And Ignis affirmed her intent to actually do it. Harkmorph told her that she didn't genuinely care much, but she asked Ignis if she didn't think it would be a bit unfair to humans, as many would leave this place. Ignis countered that Harkmorph was missing some key points. The process by which an ego monster gained power was crucial. Harkmorph asked her to elaborate on what she meant by the process. Ignis explained to Harkmorph that she had also noticed they didn't become more powerful simply by leveling up. Instead, their emotions determined their strength. When she became an ego monster, she transcended her previous limitations. No matter how weak an ego monster was, it eventually grew stronger than most of its kind. And the system itself originated from the person who created her side of this world. She asked Harkmorph if she found anything strange about this. Harkmorph inquired if Ignis was suggesting that the system itself possessed some kind of purpose. Ignis agreed, stating that their system was not dissimilar to that of the real world. In their system, they grew stronger and learned more about their emotions. Harkmorph mused that the purpose of this, then, must be that the system intended to teach them to be more human. Ignis shared the same thought, feeling there must be a grand objective behind it. A goal that the creator of this world, originating from such a depraved individual, surely understood. She doubted this objective would be an ordinary one. This world had given birth to ego monsters who evolved by understanding emotions through various interactions and conflicts with human beings. The more emotions they acquired, the more potent they became. She then wondered about the ultimate point of all this. All she could be certain of was that a purpose existed, and it definitely led to something bizarre. At least, that was her current hypothesis. Furthermore, that idea brought clarity to the ending Ignis desired. What she had predicted aligned surprisingly well with what ultimately transpired. Harkmorph, still holding Ignis' hand, told her to defeat her, for then she would truly accept her. The arm wrestling match for Taphus item commenced. Both participants exerted immense effort. Harkmorph told Ignis that they should conclude this as quickly as possible. They applied such immense force to each other's hands that even the ground began to tremble. Olivia shouted, cheering Ignis on, telling her she could do it. Ignis was pushing herself to give her 110. While Harkmorph remained unyielding. Their hands began to strain, yet they both continued to exert pressure. Palette watched them with unwavering concentration. Harkmorph was on the verge of victory. She told Ignis it was over, but Ignis reminded herself that she had to win for Taphus at all costs. She remembered older times when she used to find daily sword training tedious. Calendarer had asked Ignis if, in that case, she would prefer to try something different. Ignis had pleaded with her to try something other than just teaching her about the sword. Calendarer had then introduced her to a game called arm wrestling. They both sat facing each other. Before the game began, Calendarer had told her never to forget that she, as Florith's daughter, was more powerful than anyone else in the world. Ignis, with an intense surge of power, defeated Harkmorph. Harkmorph was beaten and laughed in defeat. Nevertheless, she told Ignis that she would honor her promise. Perhaps she knew that Ignis might be the one who could actually achieve her goals. She told Ignis that she had thoroughly enjoyed their interaction. She extended her hand to Ignis for a handshake. Ignis had heard that a handshake was the tunnel between two hearts, and now she truly understood how that could be. Harkmorph told Ignis that she would love to see her again in the future. Ignis smiled back, assuring her that she too was certain they would meet again. Palette thanked Harkmorph for her assistance. Harkmorph simply told Palette to stay alive. This was the world they inhabited, and while they might not be able to completely deny its fundamental nature, for her brother's sake, she had to strive to change it as long as the flame of life burned within them. The scene then shifted to where a ghost was conversing with Number One, informing him that the world was undergoing significant changes. The ghost then asked Number One if he was certain he would be alright, adding that if he died, he would cease to exist anywhere. Number One reassured his friend not to worry, stating he could never lose. Kim smirked, noting that this was the ideal place for stress relief. He was shocked to find no monsters present in the hunting field. The creator observed a tailless nine-tailed fox, believing it to be a pitiful creature with his brother's eyes. He decided it was time to commence. The system notified him that the ego was contagious. Previously, Ignis and her team had participated in the agriculture festival, where they had met Nandemic, who held the third rank. They had clashed in battle but eventually agreed to a temporary alliance. Not long after, they encountered Calendarer, their most formidable adversary. Thanks to Olivia and Palette, the team received aid from Rathia, the mother of the World Tree. Before her demise, Rathia cast her final spell, the Fertilizer of Life, which, combined with the flower that bloomed from Olivia's death, provided them with a crucial opportunity. The awakening of Ignis' second ego and all their collective effort led to their triumph in the battle against Calendarer. Palette took Ignis and journeyed, searching for the remaining items, before encountering Harkmorph, the second-ranked individual, somewhere in the demon world. With her assistance, they arrived at a dungeon that allowed a unique exchange for a battle against the boss, Rush, who held the 6th rank. Harkmorph and Ignis each succeeded in defeating their opponents. In the final arm wrestling match for toughest item, Ignis emerged victorious and acquired the item she sought. Only one more item remained to be found somewhere in the demon world. Palette and Ignis journeyed to the demon world. Palette asked Ignis what her plan was for the final item. Ignis told Palette that they first needed to locate whoever possessed it. She began to consider the rank 1 individual, recalling the limited information about the top rankers that Angelus had provided her. The intelligence concerning rank 1 was the least certain. Many players, including those within the Zero Guild, were obsessed with achieving superiority in terms of wealth, renown, or influence. The impending Absolute Quest would offer a tremendous advantage for any of these aspirations. She believed she should gather more information in the capital, where a large number of humans resided. She concluded that the best place for this would be the Human Information Hub. Palette also started contemplating human organizations that monsters could trust. She thought it would be the group that had helped them get here, recalling that they referred to themselves as PM. She informed Ignis that they needed to go to an organization named PM. They arrived at Alukia, the village of nature, where the chief of the strongest merchant association asked them what had transpired, unable to believe his eyes. Garcelle had no idea what had happened in the world. Ariel knew this was a dire situation, as they had little time until the next festival. They observed that all the monsters had vanished, and Ariel sensed that something had gone terribly wrong. A change was occurring in this world. At some point, monster disappearances became increasingly frequent. Most users initially assumed it was a system bug. But as time passed, they realized that something was amiss. When even ordinary users began to witness ego monsters, people started discussing monsters with egos who believed themselves to be human. Some people speculated they originated from common monsters, while others thought they were simply glitches. Ultimately, people concluded that the game was deteriorating day by day. Kia sat with Lugo, asking him if he found the situation strange. She couldn't understand why the administrators weren't taking any action. Lugo warned Kia that if she planned to do anything crazy again, she had to leave it to him this time. He seriously advised her to consider the consequences of her actions. Kia challenged him, asking why she needed to think. She couldn't comprehend why she should feel any remorse for mere data scraps that didn't exist in the real world. He countered that while it wasn't criminal or illegal, as a human being, it felt unethical, which was sufficient to make people feel troubled. He told her that if she disagreed, she needed to explain why she had abandoned the castle and stopped what she was doing. Kia asked him if he truly believed she had done that because Ignis had made her sympathetic to monsters. She envied his naivety. She clarified that it wasn't her being a monster that had changed her mind. In fact, it was Ignis herself. She smirked, telling Lugo that she hoped to meet Ignis again. Lugo felt a sense of unease about Kia, wondering what she was truly implying. Kia stood up, telling him that, besides that, she wasn't alone in resenting ego monsters in general. She gestured behind her, telling him to observe. She showed him that they were starting to move. Lugo was frustrated to see those people. However, this phenomenon was far more widespread than anticipated. Kia saw all of his family, who had now transformed into monsters. Kia approached Kia's mother, who was stunned by his appearance. He had suddenly become more powerful one day, to be precise. He began to feel as though something was enhancing his power, and he recalled seeing a specific window that day. The system notified them about the collapse of the world tree, the world being thrown off balance, and all monsters escaping the control of the moderators. Frel wondered if this had anything to do with Ignis, or if it was linked to the amplification of powers combined with a number of egos that transformed them into a formidable team capable of defeating human players. Yet, this world still belonged to humans. He questioned if this turn of events would truly be beneficial for them, or if something malevolent was secretly being plotted. Someone stepped towards Frel from behind. Frel heard the footsteps. The individual, who was the boss of the bug report team, told Frel about a hit film from 1997 concerning a luxury liner that struck an iceberg and sank. The guy asked Frel if he knew the title of that film. Frel questioned him about the relevance of his words. The guy realized that Frel was indeed a monster. The guy had arrived with his companions as well. Strangely enough, it felt quite familiar. He asked the guy if he was the type of human who tried to harass monsters. He told them that they had tried admirably, but he had already encountered such situations before. He drew his sword. And one of the guy's companions asked if he had heard that. The guy began to ponder. He ordered his companions to simply kill Frel. Frel cursed at them. An explosion erupted. A monster with white hair observed from afar that something was transpiring on the other side of the forest. He contemplated going to try and save them. The girl, who was human and accompanying him, laughed after hearing his suggestion. She sarcastically asked him if he considered himself a hero or something similar. She told him that he didn't need to go anywhere and didn't need to save anything. However, he knew she wasn't wrong. Frel observed that they were attempting to kill the ego monsters without even trying to exploit them. He realized they simply enjoyed the act of killing them. To be honest, however, he simply no longer cared. He activated his shockwave skills, and the guy was surprised by the stunning effect. Frel used a high-density, compressed battery cell item. He crunched that item in his mouth. And with the crunching sound, the Godspeed strike was unleashed, hitting every one of the guy's companions. The guy's companions remained unharmed. They couldn't believe that Frel could strike them with such a weak attack. The boss asked one of his companions, Hungak, to state his rank. Hungak informed his boss that he was ranked 47. Their boss then asked their other colleagues to answer the same question. The girl, who was a companion of the guy, told him that after the latest promotion series, she was now ranked 35. One by one, all the guild members began to report their ranks. The guy himself was ranked number 9. Frel realized that they were all high-ranking players, within the top 100 tier. The guy approached Frel, telling him that they were there to inform him that certain actions were not permitted in this world. Frel gripped his sword tightly. He delivered a deadly blow to the guy. But the guy skillfully dodged the attack. The guy recognized it as a fatal secret move and asked Frel if he truly expected it to work. He called Frel pathetic and told him he was better off dead. The guy grabbed Frel's neck and began to squeeze it. Frel realized he couldn't allow these strangers to defeat him like this. He didn't even know his purpose yet, so he genuinely didn't want to die. Suddenly, a man intervened, stopping the guy from killing Frel. He activated his sonic boom skill. The guy was shocked by how stealthily he had approached. He asked the man who he was. However, the man wasn't sure how to describe himself, simply telling him to say he was a good Samaritan. Upon hearing the vocabulary, the guy assumed he was a player. The girl stepped in and pointed towards him, identifying him as a monster and herself as a player. The girl, whose name was Chloe, grinned at him. The guy asked her if she was joking. He was surprised to hear that she was a human player, yet part monster. She found it incredibly rude, stating that if she hadn't revealed it herself, he wouldn't even have known he was a monster. She then asked the guy how he would feel if she had just claimed he was a human player, questioning if he would believe her if she told him she was a monster. The guy dismissed it as rubbish. He asked them what they were trying to achieve, calling both of them weirdos. The man told the guy that they would simply have to fight them if he had no intention of backing down. The guy smirked, asking the man what made him think he could stop him. He pondered for a minute. He then asked both of them who or what they were. Chloe declared that the two of them were a couple. The man told Chloe to stop fooling around. Chloe asked the man what was wrong with him, questioning if she was lying. The man knew that Chloe wasn't lying, nor was he thinking clearly. The guy realized what was happening. He told his companion to find a topic, anything, no matter how trivial. It all depended on how they spun it and made it public. The guy realized that an ego monster was in a relationship with a human player. Regardless of its authenticity, he saw that it was quite eye-catching. He believed it might be worth covering. So he activated a skill called Watcher's Eyes. A purplish light appeared. The guy told the man not to worry too much, as it wouldn't last long. He, along with his team, prepared to leave. He began to depart, turning to face both of them and saying they would see them next time, referring to them as lovebirds. Frel thanked him for saving his life. The man observed that Frel wasn't fully familiar with the power of his ego. He called Frel a poor monster. He then decided to demonstrate his power to him. Frel asked him what he meant by demonstrating. The man patted Frel's shoulder. And Frel's eyes widened in surprise. A screen appeared before Frel, leaving him utterly bewildered as to what was happening. The system notified Frel that his entire ego had been activated. It felt as if a whirlpool of emotions was sucking him in. He wondered what was occurring within him. The monster with white hair told Frel that a small universe resided within every one of them. This place represented that universe in a form that this world could comprehend. Frel wondered what representation truly meant. He collapsed to the ground. Frel saw that he had fallen on a floor. Conversely, the creator laughed, knowing that games were meant to be enjoyable. She asked Frel if he disagreed. Frel screamed and returned to reality, having indeed fallen to the floor. He had no idea what had just transpired. He saw that the monster had awakened now. Frel, holding his face, asked him what he had done to him. The man told Frel that he had simply shown him what it was like to experience feelings. Frel's head throbbed with pain, and he fell to the ground once more. The man informed Frel that the minimum conditions to achieve a complete ego in this game were to acquire happiness, anger, joy, and sadness. Chloe confirmed this, knowing that emotions were not limited to just these four, but rather, this was the absolute minimum. He looked at Chloe and told her that everything else was for the monster to discover on his own. Chloe asked him if they didn't need Angelus, and he confirmed that they both urgently required Angelus's help. However, Chloe didn't understand why Angelus was so difficult to locate when his outfit was so distinctive, an orange hoodie and a giant cross on his back. Frel suddenly remembered seeing that outfit before. Meanwhile, Palette informed them that they needed to head to the capital first. Ignis asked Palette about the organization she had mentioned, inquiring if they were also located near the capital. Palette agreed with Ignis. She told her there weren't many places to gather information from humans, so they had no other choice. Olivia asked Palette what the organization she was talking about was. Palette admitted she didn't know much either and that they would have to find out once they arrived. Ignis observed they had no specific clues, so she suggested they simply go there first. Olivia began to ponder something. After a minute, she asked them how they planned to leave their current location. Ignis looked at Olivia. Olivia reminded them that they didn't have any teleportation portals. Ignis told them there was a way she was familiar with the geography of this place because she had come here to bring Tafas to life. She pointed upwards, instructing them that they needed to ascend. Olivia and Palette were both surprised to hear that they had to go up. However, everything in the demon world seemed to be sealed off. Several features in this area extended towards the sky. Palette realized that Ignis meant there were exits in the sky. She asked them how they would get there, and Ignis replied that it wasn't a problem. She asked them how they would get there, and Ignis replied that it wasn't a problem. Ignis flapped her wings, and Olivia and Palette stared at her. Olivia thought they would need to cling to her. Palette was shocked to hear this, not understanding how they were going to do it. Palette believed it wasn't what she thought, yet she wondered if it was. Ignis grabbed both of them. Olivia had witnessed her use her wings before. Palette gritted her teeth, feeling that this couldn't be happening. Conversely, Kiha was engrossed in conversation with Lugo. She told Lugo that even if she hadn't done it, someone else would have. Lugo grew frustrated, telling her that she still didn't comprehend. He asked her if he truly understood. He felt it was enough he had to go and stop it. Kiha told Lugo to relax, reminding him that they were merely data strings. However, she questioned him, who knows besides them, as someone might still come along to try and save them. The scene shifted to a member of the bug report team observing a green-haired monster. He noted that she was living directly within a human village, concluding that she possessed considerable audacity. The monster told him that she was not a monster, and upon hearing her reply, he decided it wouldn't matter if he killed her. This was because he knew she was a human player, so she would simply respawn. He drew his sword. She asked him why he was doing this to her. He explained that they were a bug in this system, becoming a nuisance for players like him. He was perplexed by the notable surge in ego monsters, which subsequently made it more challenging for players to gain experience points. He firmly believed that his group was essential for the game's proper functioning. They were the bug report. She maintained that even if she wasn't a monster, there was no justifiable reason to end her life. He retorted that the decision was not hers to make. Unexpectedly, a figure leaped onto the wall, advising them against their current course of action. The bug report guy looked up, questioning his identity. With a devilish smirk, the newcomer introduced himself to the bug report individual as a superhero who protects monsters, likening himself to the ringleader of monsters. The bug report guy scoffed, dismissing it as a joke. The monster's superhero merely smiled. Conversely, Angelus held the conviction that the ringleader pursued an impossible goal. He believed they would never grant him the update he desired, as the ends could never justify the means. He sought confirmation from Florith, asking if his assessment was correct. The monster was taken aback by the phrase ringleader of monsters. The ringleader of monsters, still smiling, explained that it was a working title but admitted it currently seemed inappropriate. The bug report guy challenged the monster's ringleader, asking if he even comprehended what he was saying in their human tongue. The ringleader of monsters stated that he could be a president or a prime minister, but since monsters lacked a country of their own, the bug report guy needed a moment to grasp the concept of a nation for monsters. The monster ringleader agreed that the bug report guy had a valid point. The ringleader acknowledged that they were born into this world without possessions or status. However, he maintained that despite their circumstances, there was nothing they couldn't achieve. They possessed the freedom to choose how they wished to live. The bug report guy questioned if that freedom would be enough. The ringleader of monsters reminded the bug report guy that he stood for monsters, not for justice, and that he would commit to anything and everything necessary. He then announced that in 2 weeks, they would launch an invasion of the city of Hirion. On the other hand, after completing their aerial journey, Palette's face turned pale and she began to feel unwell. She marveled at the thought that they had flown for 2 consecutive hours. Ignis looked at Palette, and with a gentle smile, told her that they could use a portal once they reached the village. Olivia reminded Ignis that they must have portal stones prepared for their next journey. Palette concurred with Olivia, believing they should do the same. Ignis told them they would find some players in a nearby village. Suddenly, Ignis sensed a fading fire ahead of them. Olivia urged Ignis that they must go and rescue them. The scene shifted to a desolate place where the 3 were now heading. Olivia asked what had transpired there. They spotted a monster attempting to flee. Olivia gently held the monster, asking if she was all right. The monster, consumed by rage, began slashing at Olivia. The monster started screaming at them, mistaking them for humans. She yelled that she hated humans, shouting at them and demanding to know why they inflicted such severe harm upon monsters. She began to cry, utterly bewildered by what had been done to her kind. Olivia, listening intently, reassured her not to worry. She calmly informed the monster that they too were monsters, so she had no cause for concern. The monster was shocked to hear that they were monsters. She asked Olivia if all of them were indeed monsters. After some time, feeling a bit more at ease, she recounted their entire story to Olivia. She informed them that they were on the move, and Ignis asked what she meant by being on the move. The monster explained that they were going to cooperate. Palette inquired if she meant heading to a safe place using coordinates. The monster affirmed, clarifying that coordinates referred to safe havens for monsters. They had been journeying there for survival but, unfortunately, had encountered a human camp. Lacking the power to defeat them, they had hidden in a deserted village for a while. They had no other option, and that was when the humans had barged in on them. Ignis asked what she meant by them barging in. The monster informed them that those individuals referred to themselves as the Bug Report. She began to cry, recalling the ordeal she had endured. Ignis embraced her, understanding the suffering she had experienced. She told the monster it was okay and that she didn't need to elaborate further at that moment. The monster continued to weep, explaining to Ignis that all her friends had been killed before her eyes, yet she was powerless. She called herself worthless, being the sole survivor. Olivia approached the monster, telling her not to call herself useless, because she too mattered. Upon hearing Olivia, the monster felt she needed to become stronger regardless. The monster asked them why they had come. Olivia replied that they were there to gather information. Palette approached the monster and asked if she could share the location of those coordinates. The monster asked Palette if she was inquiring about the locations of those safe places. She handed Palette a piece of paper on which the area was noted. Palette told the monster to wait a minute, recognizing the numbers. She realized this was where she used to send the monsters she had saved. Conversely, the Bug Report guy told the monster he had heard enough of his nonsense, declaring that they were all going to die anyway. The ringleader of monsters sprang into action, as he had no time to waste. He slammed the ground, creating a boom, and took the monster with him. After scooping the monster into his arms, he flew away. The Bug Report guy sighed, watching as the ringleader monster and the rescued monster escaped. The rescued monster asked the ringleader of the monsters where they were headed. The ringleader of monsters informed the monster that they were going to the place where monsters of their kind belonged. A place named Eden. After seeing the coordinates location, Palette revealed that this was where she used to send the monsters she had saved. Ignis asked Palette if she meant she also knew this place. Palette told Ignis that she had known about it for a long time. She further informed Ignis that this place was a hidden stage unknown to most people. They had brought the monsters there because humans rarely ventured into that area. Furthermore, she clarified that they had told the monsters they were going to a safer place. One of the monsters she had sent there seemed to be calling other monsters to that same location. Ignis asked if they could send these monsters there immediately. Palette told them they could easily purchase portal stones at the village. She mentioned it was close to the beginner's zone, so it wouldn't be expensive. Olivia began to ponder this, realizing they had more reasons to head to the village. She felt they needed to take him somewhere else. The monster told everyone that there was a place where humans congregated more frequently, which was likely where the Bug Report originated. Ignis smiled, assuring her not to worry, as they would certainly get her there safely. The rescued monster thanked Ignis for her help. The Watcher's Eye's skill possessed a specific trait that allowed its users to observe all of their opponent's actions for 2 days. This implied, of course, that the Bug Report guy had overheard the conversation between Chloe and Amber. The boss began to realize that they were orchestrating something. Hungak asked the boss if anything was amiss. The boss then asked Hunzak what he understood by entire ego. Hunzak explained to his boss that monsters gain their powers by acquiring emotions, so he wondered if it didn't mean they had assimilated all their feelings. His boss told him that, as he already knew how ego monsters behaved, he understood they couldn't accomplish anything independently. The boss ordered Hung to publish an article about the individual they had encountered earlier. He instructed Hung to make it as sensational as possible. Hung then commanded the system to copy the content. She presented them with today's report. She informed everyone that they had successfully cleared 21 areas of ego monsters. The increasing number of these monsters had become a significant inconvenience and would lead to widespread chaos and confusion, yet the administrators had refused to provide any explanation. Humok stated that this left players with 2 options, either abandoning the game or descending into madness within it. You knew that the administrators had never once reached out. The people who remained and continued to play the game were quite peculiar. Well, Hunzak understood that what truly mattered was how a person gained experience points. An experienced member from the bug report team informed everyone that ego monsters yielded 2.5 times more experience points than normal monsters. He predicted that this fact would soon become widely known. Hung knew that a massacre of ego monsters was imminent. Yun understood that there would be a justification for their actions, and they would even gain supporters. Hung also knew that the game as a whole would eventually collapse. On the other hand, he was aware that intentionally killing ego monsters might be perceived as lucrative content. She believed that by then they would be able to achieve their objective. Their boss knew they would reach their true goal beyond this. The boss wished that his sister would wait for him. The scene shifted to Olivia, who appeared incredibly excited as they arrived at their destination. The rescued monster asked Olivia if they should maintain silence rather than making loud noises. Olivia whispered in the monster's ear that his assumption was incorrect. They absolutely must not remain silent. It was far better to appear confident, as it looked very natural. Agnes remembered a similar occurrence. Palette pointed behind her, suggesting they head in that direction. They all proceeded to a store. Agnes opened the store door, intending to purchase some portal stones. She saw a man who greeted them warmly. This man was the portal stone master, Jang Rian. Palette handed Master Jang the paper with the area's location written on it. She requested a portal stone that would transport them there, asking Master Jang if he could craft it for her. Master Jang carefully examined the location, deeming the area easily accessible. He assured them it wouldn't be too expensive either. Palette then requested Master Jang to create a portal stone for them to travel to the village. Agnes simply observed Palette and her requests. Master Jang began crafting the portal stone for them. After a while, Master Jang finished his work. He then questioned if they truly intended to pay him for this, as the item he had created was a dragon's treasure. Agnes assured him they would definitely pay for it. She thanked Master Jang for his assistance. Later, after leaving the shop and while on their way, Agnes asked Palette why she had also purchased a portal stone for the village. Palette knew she eventually had to reveal her intentions. She told them she wished to accompany the rescued monster to her destination. The rescued monster asked Palette if she was genuinely going to join her. Agnes understood that Palette was concerned. Palette agreed with Agnes's assessment, confirming that she felt a degree of responsibility for the monsters she had saved. Moreover, she desired to witness it herself. Agnes grasped her point. Before departing, Palette assured them that she would return soon. They both used the portal stone and teleported to Eden. Upon reaching Eden, Palette was astonished by what she saw. Palette wondered if the place she had arrived at was indeed Eden. Eden was a serene, gentle, and verdant place. As soon as they arrived, a monster whom Palette had saved before appeared. The monster, Kalina, asked them if they were the monsters seeking refuge. Palette carefully observed the monster, recalling that she was the one who had rescued her previously. She called out, asking if Kalina remembered her. Kalina approached her, pausing to remember. She then recalled that Palette was indeed the one who had saved her that day. Palette was overjoyed to see that the monster she had saved was alive and thriving. Kalina took her hands, telling Palette that she had literally taken the words right out of her mouth. Palette looked around, observing that the place had undergone significant changes, appearing almost unrecognizable. The monster asked Palette if she found it appealing. She informed Palette that they had endeavored to nurture this place as much as possible during their stay. Palette saw ego monsters all around, seemingly enjoying their lives to the fullest in Eden. Palette was happy to learn that all the monsters were doing well. She surmised that their collective efforts had not been in vain after all. Suddenly, Palette heard a voice announcing that the captain had arrived. The ringleader of monsters greeted everyone, asking how they were all doing. She saw that the ringleader appeared very happy. Palette asked the monster she had once saved who the guy was. The monster informed Palette that he was the captain of everyone residing there and also the one destined to change the fate of the ego monsters. She told Palette that his name was Leo. Leo declared to the children of Eden that he had informed the enemy of their objective and that they would be invading Hirion in 2 weeks. Palette was stunned to hear about the impending war with the humans, knowing it would intensify the conflict. Kalina asked Palette if her understanding was correct and questioned if Palette had any other plans to save their kind. She told Palette that it was all empty talk unless she could propose a realistic alternative. However, Palette knew that humans would inflict a terrible slaughter upon many monsters. The monster told Palette that she was already aware of the risks but was prepared to sacrifice her life for this cause. After a moment, Palette took out her portal stone. Kalina asked Palette if she was leaving so soon. Palette told her that her teammates were expecting her and that she knew the coordinates of this place, so she would return. The monster she had brought here thanked her for guiding her to Eden. The monster requested that Palette stay alive. Palette returned to Ignis, who welcomed her. Olivia remarked to Palette that she had returned very quickly. Palette told both of them that she had something to share. Ignis asked Palette what news she wished to convey. Palette informed them that a large group of ego monsters had gathered and named their refuge Eden. She told them that these monsters were planning to wage war against the users. On the other hand, the permanent Kim Ah-jun spokesman urged everyone to listen closely. The users were chattering amongst themselves. Two of the users looked at him, and one told the other that he thought Kim was trying to say something important. He decided to listen to him. Kim questioned everyone if they didn't think something was seriously wrong. He informed everyone that there were no monsters left in the field. Distra asked her companions what Kim was doing there. Tatantha told Kim that he was expressing his anger about the lack of monsters to kill. She remembered that it had been a while since she had gained any experience points, and the administrators were doing nothing about it. People were discussing the game amongst themselves, and one of the players informed another that he was also considering quitting. They couldn't understand why the administrators refused to communicate with the players. However, this situation had occurred several times before, but at that time, they had simply let it go. One of the players questioned another if he knew the reason behind it. Suddenly, they heard a voice from number 1 stating that this is how this game was designed. Distra asked number 1 to identify himself first. Number 1 told them to leave the area if they didn't want to lose their experience points, as an invasion was imminent. Distra wondered what this guy was implying. Meanwhile, Kim told everyone they needed to take action. He questioned everyone if they were just going to sit back and watch. He was about to elaborate on what would happen if things continued this way when a sudden blast occurred. A monster with brightly shining eyes cursed at them, challenging them to act. The monster was an unknown boss-rank entity. The monster attacked Kim. Kim asked if he was an ego monster. The monster struck Kim, and Kim screamed from the impact. The users began to wonder if this was a monster's attack. One of the users questioned the others about the timing, speculating if the administrators had planned this event. The monster warned the humans not to underestimate him. Distra observed some strange liquid pouring from the drains. A banging sound began. Number 1 placed his hand on Distra's head, reminding her that he had already told her to run away. Distra looked at his face. She knew he had saved her before she even realized he was coming. She looked at him and asked him who he was. The human users witnessed a liquid that melted everything it touched. And the human user warned everyone to be cautious. The monster commanded everyone to die. The human users began to flee. The human users had no idea how the monster had caused the land to rise with the liquid. An explosion occurred. On the other hand, Kalina informed everyone that the Ragwan village raid was complete, with 121 players killed. Leo was pleased, knowing that when humans died, they lost experience points and became weaker. Kalina agreed with his point, adding that human villages also contained cathedrals and resurrection stones. If they destroyed the resurrection stone in the cathedral, they could prevent humans from respawning. Leo told her that they wouldn't be able to stop it completely, of course, but humans would respawn at the next closest stone instead. This meant that if they destroyed all cathedrals and resurrection stones in the world, they would achieve victory. Conversely, the monster told them that they must begin with this one. And in an instant, another explosion occurred. Well, after they sent the rescued monster to Eden, they proceeded to research the organization known as PM. Palette, accompanying Ignis, asked her if this organization was even real. However, they had already inquired at approximately 10 different locations. Ignis told Palette that they had to keep searching a little longer. Olivia questioned them if this was a secret organization that no ordinary user knew about. Suddenly, a user named Ree, an information broker, approached them, asking if they were seeking information. He offered to provide what they needed for some gold. Palette asked him if he was the same person she was thinking of. Ree claimed he knew everything, leaving no detail unknown. Palette was surprised to see him. She then began yelling at him, recognizing him as the pickpocket who had stolen from her. Ree called Palette a stupid monster whom he had seen before. Palette sighed, asking him if he had acquired all that gold for his ridiculous outfit by swindling users. Ree told Palette that he could only exploit foolish individuals. Palette suggested they leave, stating they didn't need help from someone like him. Ree asked Palette if she was sure about her decision, hinting that he knew PM quite well. Olivia was shocked to hear this. Ree insisted to Palette that he was serious and indeed knew a lot about that organization. He then proposed they pay him 4 million gold for the information. Palette pointed her finger at Ree, shouting and asking if he even comprehended how enormous an amount 4 million was. Ignis stepped forward towards Ree. She presented him with the dragon's treasure, a rare item. Ree was utterly amazed to see Ignis offering him such a valuable treasure. He approached Ignis and took her hand, asking if she would like to be his friend. Palette observed Ree's actions, finding them very cheap and superficial. After a few minutes, Ree informed them that PM was not a widely known organization. Ignis asked Ree how he knew that PM was not a well-known organization. Ree told Ignis to consider the situation. With more and more ego monsters, users weren't gaining enough experience points. Yet, these individuals wanted to save those monsters, which no one would appreciate. He told them this was why it remained a small operation run by a handful of hypocrites. He informed them that PM was located in a village called Key. He also cautioned them to be careful because the fact that they protected monsters meant they had something hidden up their sleeves. Palette remained silent, listening intently. Well, Ignis and the others bought another portal stone and headed to the village of Key. There was nothing particularly unusual about it. But they soon came across a distinct building. They opened the building's door and stepped inside. Upon entering, they found the building to be quite fancy. They encountered the PM receptionist, Bulljack, who, upon seeing them, asked if he could assist them. Palette told Bulljack that she was looking for a person named Rhea. Bulljack understood they had come to meet his boss. In the meantime, Rhea himself happened to appear. He remembered meeting Palette in the village, and asked Palette what business brought her to him. Rhea recalled seeing them and remembered that they were the adventurers he had previously encountered. He felt great seeing them again, and he noticed Olivia. He approached Olivia, observing that they had found a new companion. Ignis asked Rhea if they were the organization that protected monsters. She told Rhea that they were also considering doing something similar. Rhea asked Ignis to explain her intentions. Ignis told Rhea that she would like to offer to work for their organization. In return, she hoped he could help her find one specific thing. Rhea informed them that they had a fund for their activities but were a volunteer group with no pay. He had also never considered having someone provide labor in exchange for something. Nevertheless, he decided to hear what Ignis desired in return. Ignis told him that she wanted information about the #1 ranked individual. Rhea knew her name was Ignis, and she was a monster who, for some reason, went around hunting rankers. He knew more than anyone could imagine. However, it seemed the information she obtained from monsters was limited. He deemed it perfect for his own objectives. So, he extended his hand to her, proposing they work together. This was how Ignis and her team joined PM. Some minutes later, Palette was in the try-on room, preparing to change her clothes. Before changing, she pulled the curtain aside and asked a lady named Alice, who was from PM, if she truly needed to wear this outfit. Palette complained to Alice that it was too frilly, and she felt too shy to wear it. Upon hearing Palette, Alice laughed, knowing there was no alternative. Alice told Palette that this uniform identified them and proved who they were, so she had to wear it. After changing their clothes, it felt as if a long time had passed since they had changed attire. Alice complimented all of them, saying they looked perfect. Ignis asked the lady what their next task was. Alice called all of them newbies and informed them that their mission was to rescue some monsters. She told them their destination was the village of orcs, Rum. She made them aware that human users had discovered that the orcs living there had become ego monsters, and consequently, they planned to go and eliminate them all. Therefore, they had to prevent that from happening at all costs. Ignis asked the lady why she would go to such lengths, knowing that, ultimately, they were all monsters to her. Alice smiled sweetly and told Ignis that she wasn't a huge fan of video games in general. She had only started playing this one because a friend had asked her to. She never really enjoyed hunting or fighting, so she simply went about collecting natural items and exploring the map. She was losing interest in the game altogether when she stumbled upon someone in the bushes. She happened to discover an injured monster that was bleeding. The monster asked her if she was human. At first, that monster was terrified of humans, but gradually they became good friends. A hint of reminiscence flickered in Alice's eyes. Their friendship blossomed without her even realizing that she was an ego monster. But sadly, it didn't last too long. It wasn't long after that she learned the truth about her being an ego monster. She only found out when the monster failed to respawn after they killed her. That was the moment she decided she wanted to protect ego monsters. Olivia began to cry after hearing such an emotional, heart-touching story. They remembered that Nandemic had helped them, as had Harkmorph, who had taken them to the dungeon, and the one who wanted to save ego monsters. Palette concluded that not all humans were bad people. Alice told them they had chatted enough and that it was time to get to work. The scene shifted as Alice looked at the site through binoculars. She informed Ignis that it was Ragram, the orc village. Ignis realized it didn't look too chaotic. Alice told them that the bug report guys would arrive soon. The bug report team indeed arrived, surveying the place where the ego monsters were. Ignis recognized these individuals as the organization the monster had told her about. Alice informed Ignis that they killed ego monsters on sight. Their objective was to stop them and save the orcs. Palette called out to Ignis, unsure of what they needed to do next. The monsters observed the incoming humans. And the monsters began to emerge to confront them. A monster told the bug report that they would never take this place easily. The bug report guy called the monster weak and pathetic. Meanwhile, Ignis stepped forward. She told Hunzak that humans like him never gave up, expressing her exasperation with them. Hunzak asked her who she was. Ignis told him he didn't need to know anything about her and informed him that he would die soon. Hunzak asked her what business brought her there. Nevertheless, he warned her that he would kill her if she dared to interfere. He activated the power chain skill in that area. After activating his skill, he told Ignis that no one could escape his skill, so she must die now. Ignis raised her hand. She swung her sword, gripping it tightly. She activated the Dragon Strike Rage Smash. And with the activation of her skill, a powerful blast erupted. Alice was surprised, as it was only a single strike. She wondered about Ignis's true identity. Hunzak couldn't accept this reality, wondering if he would be utterly defeated in this manner. He had no idea how this could be happening. The monster asked Ignis who she was and why she was helping them. Ignis was unsure, but she believed she used to rescue monsters for a living. She knew it would be difficult. But she requested the monster to survive until the very end because she would change everything from that moment forward. After that, they carried out other missions for PM. They went to protect the dragons of the Dragon Highlands. And fought off the bug report team inside an underwater temple. A week passed without them realizing it. Ria told them they were still searching for the #1 ranked individual. He was known to act only when he found something truly interesting. he was certain that he would also bring about some changes to their work. Ignis told him to let them know when he had information crucial to them. Ria told them they should all prepare, informing everyone that only 3 days remained until the designated day. Ignis asked him if he was referring to Hirian, and Ria confirmed that the war was upon them. The scene shifted to Palette and Olivia standing together. Olivia asked Palette if anything was wrong. Palette smiled, assuring her that nothing was amiss. It was simply that she couldn't fall asleep. Olivia reminded Palette that she had mentioned knowing a monster who resided there. Palette agreed, remembering what she had said. She told Olivia that she was certain he would be there this time too, and this time they would lose many monsters. Olivia hugged Palette from behind, telling Palette that they must stop it together. Palette agreed with her, stating that they would surely change them. Even among human players, this battle was a monumental event. The Anti-Ego Monster Organization, the Bug Report, had issued a notice for the monsters' planned ambush, and users were eager for a chance to participate in this conflict. A user laughed, eager to join the battle as soon as possible. Another human user remarked to the first that ever since monsters acquired egos, it had become difficult to earn experience points. The other player agreed, though he didn't understand the administrator's intentions. The guy asked the other what he thought about the notice for the ambush against ego monsters. The guy asked the other user if he thought this was obvious. They only cared about the experience points they would gain from it. So, time flew by, and the fateful day arrived. Being born into a world like this, they were compelled to choose their way of life. However, that choice should be solely theirs and not dictated by the ideals of others. It should stem from their own beliefs and nothing else. If there was light, it should be theirs to claim. If there was darkness, it was also their fate. He laughed, believing they must forge their own values with their own hands. Leo asked the residents of Eden if they were all prepared. He then instructed the residents of Eden that it was time to depart. Warriors of the deserts had constructed the indestructible village of Hirian. This was where numerous worldwide rankers had been born, and no player would take the honor lightly while they were present. Everyone knew about the monster's ambush planned for this town. A guy sitting in a chair smiled. He called them arrogant, wondering how they dared to contemplate attacking this place. He asked the boss of the Bug Report if they were unaware that he resided in the great city of Hirian. He declared that he would kill all of them. The boss of the Bug Report asserted that they, as the Bug Report, would ensure the village's protection. They were professional ego monster hunters themselves. If this ambush failed, they would certainly lose hope. He informed him that his team consisted of 15 of the world's top 100 rankers, and together they had dismantled countless ego monster shelters. With a smile, he stated that some PM imbeciles had tried to stop them along the way, but he was sure they understood they would perish if they ever came there, assuming they were in their right minds. The next day, Ignis stood on the roof. She asked everyone if they should commence and drew her sword. Conversely, Dutantha asked Distra if they would arrive today. Distra replied that she didn't think they would come today. She pointed to the other side, noting that they had come more than prepared. Kim announced to the rankers in the Bug Report team that today was the day ego monsters would fall. An explosion erupted. Leo entered, telling them that they must go wild. Kim saw them approaching. The monsters declared themselves warriors of the desert, ready to demonstrate the true meaning of honor. The other humans also expressed their willingness to join. The Bug Report guys instructed them to destroy the monsters when the boss gave the command. Kalina gave instructions to Team A, discussing their move towards the city hall. She instructed Team B to search the cathedral and ordered Team C to join Leo in the battle against the humans. She commanded all of them to move out. And the humans and monsters surged towards each other, preparing for combat. Ignis believed that if a fight was unavoidable, they must endeavor to save as many monsters as possible before all those precious flames were extinguished.